Hey there, folks. Is there even a such thing as a Mr. Right? Well, our guest in studio today says yes, but my co-host says she's still looking for him. And with that, welcome to this episode of Amy and TJ Robes. You still looking for him, huh?
I mean, I think I'm looking right at him.
You're looking at him or looking for him?
At him, not for him, at him. And I was never looking for him. He just was there all along.
No, and come on now. Wait, in all of your... Was there at some point in your mind, at some point in your dating life, I know you kind of had a couple of long marriages, but did you have a mindset growing up that there is a Mr. Right for you?
Oh my God, yes. You know how much I love my rom-coms and all of my, Disney movies and Broadway musicals where in the end and Jane Austen where everything works out and you find your man. Yes, of course I wanted that. Of course I thought that was out there.
Okay, now tell me. What is your definition? And I'm not saying put me into that category, but what generally would you think women are talking about when they say there is a Mr. Right? Or is that different for everybody?
No, I actually don't think it is. I think for women, we want somebody who supports us, somebody who is attracted to us. We want somebody who loves us even when we're at our worst and can like us when we're at our best. Yeah, I think that sums it up.
Is that everybody's Mrs. Right as well? I mean, that sounds like something that's in human nature versus this is not a man-woman thing.
Probably not, but only you could tell me that.
What did you say? I can't even read my own handwriting. The first thing, supports us.
Yes.
Attracted to us.
Yep.
Loves us at our worst.
At our worst.
At our worst, and likes us.
At our best.
At our best. Okay. Yeah, I think everybody is looking for that thing. Then why is it so difficult? Is it difficult to find that person you're looking for, or you might get exactly what you're looking for, and then you err in how you go about the relationship? Because getting the right person, does that mean you're in the right relationship? Getting the right person, does that mean now you're in a forever relationship?
I think if you're with the other person who's in it and committed to going through the moments when you don't necessarily like the person you love. That's where the trouble ensues. When I said love us when we're at our worst, I think that's the ding, 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 ding. I think that's the tough part. I think that's when it gets hard. I think that's when people say, the rest of it isn't good enough to support that, whatever it is. But I think for me, that is the telltale sign.
You think I love you at your worst?
That's TBD.
So I haven't seen your worst?
No, I think you've seen my worst. I'm not sure if you love me when I'm at my worst.
You know, what is your worst? Tell me what it is.
I've experienced your expression of your reaction to what you think is my worst.
No. What is you? What is it? You at your worst is what?
I don't know. Probably me saying something not so nice and walking away. That hasn't happened yet.
It happened once.
It did happen once. You're right.
A door slammed.
It did happen once.
There was a dramatic exit.
It only happened once, though.
Yes, it did.
And did you still love me?
No. The love is never a question. The love is never a question. It's only about the like. So all we're talking about, I'm holding in my hand a book. And the title of that book is How to Attract the Right Guy. Mm-hmm. Avoid situationships, step into wifey energy, and get him to commit.
I think that's what a lot of women want.
How many years ago could you have used that?
Yeah, maybe from the beginning, since it started very early for me. I was engaged at 21.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
20. Maybe I just turned 22. Yeah. But engaged. Same with you, right?
Yes, I was married by the age of 23 for the first time.
Same, 23, first marriage.
Wow.
Notice we both said first marriage. So yes, I think, I could have used this book.
For our guest in studio now, we are, obviously we have some relationship experience, and a lot of people out there, no matter whatever relationship you're in, I think we could all use some counsel. And if you're looking for a relationship, we could all use some kind of counsel in some way, form, or fashion. So it's cool to be able to talk to someone who is now in the business of getting people together. And Talia We Met is the name. Yes, Talia We Met. Her last name is We Met. and she's now a relationship expert.
It's not spelled WEMET like you might think. No, it's so much cooler than that. It's so French. It's OUIMET. We met. Like we.
Yeah, so she's a matchmaker, author as well. In the studio with us. Can we start with that? Is there a Mr. Right? Should every woman that you do coach now, do you tell them there is a Mr. Right for you? And what is that?
Absolutely, there's a Mr. Right.
Okay.
And every time you give your energy to Mr. Wrong, you're missing out on Mr. Right. So I think we have to get really good at cutting these bad guys out that are breadcrumbing you so that you can continue to attract Mr. Right.
Breadcrumbing.
I was going to say, does everybody in the room understand what that is? What is the breadcrumbing?
Oh, yes.
Breadcrumbing.
Okay. What does that mean?
Okay, so it's trending right now. Breadcrumbing is when someone's giving you a lot of attention and they kind of pull away because they're seeing other people, but then they feel you pulling away. So then they throw you a little bit of attention to reel you back in, but they're still seeing so many other people. So they're kind of playing like hot, cold, hot, cold. It's very toxic. We don't like breadcrumbing.
Mm-hmm. But as soon as you say it, every woman who's gone through that understands exactly what you meant. I have a question. Is there just one Mr. Right, or could there be a Mr. Right now?
I mean, as a matchmaker.
I'm going to step out here, Talia. Apparently, this is not my podcast. God, jeez. Whoa, right here.
You have a t-shirt that says Mr. Right now.
I can explain that story, but Talia, you go ahead with your answer.
You know, as a matchmaker, as a dating coach, I am all for Mr. Right, not Mr. Right now. Okay. I do think that people come into your life for a season, you know, for a reason as well. But overall, you're looking for a Mr. Right, and you're looking for the one. So,
does the problem, though, I know you get people together, but how much of the success of a relationship, I guess, are they two different things? Can you be a good match, but then end up being bad mates? Is that possible that on paper and everything you look good, like they should work, and then something changes after a marriage takes place?
Well, okay, so now those are kind of two different things. Right. Now, I have seen two matches where on paper it looks perfect. Okay. You know, both devoted Christians, both love golden retrievers, both blah, 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 come from the same family type, whatever. Yeah. But then energetically, I just know that their sense of humor won't be in alignment. Yeah. And so I do think energy comes into a huge play. You know, is she in her feminine? Is he in his masculine? Like, there's a lot of different things. So on paper, it could be a great match, but then the chemistry is off.
Okay,
so
you
there's
said
a lot more to it.
You said energy, and this was something I was reading your book, and I was looking at your Instagram page, and you talk to women. Correct me if I'm wrong if I say this incorrectly, but that they should be channeling their feminine energy versus their boss lady energy. Explain why.
Oh, I love that question because every man loves a feminine woman. The feminine woman will win every time. And it's so easy, you know, especially being an entrepreneur, I share my books and personal stories. And it's so easy to stay in your masculine because you're working hard and you're constantly in meetings and blah, blah, blah. But you have to learn how to turn it off. And I give all my tips and tricks in the book on how to tap back into that feminine because it can go back and forth throughout the day. You just have to know when to turn it off because men aren't looking to come home from their workday and go on a date with a woman who only wants to talk about work or who's very in her masculine in that moment. He wants a feminine girl.
What? You got to help me with this one here. Because I assume some people might take issue with telling a woman to turn it off, turn it on, to almost appease whatever we men might have in our minds about what the feminine or delicate or weaker sex, how they should behave. So help us work through that part where a woman hearing, I got to turn something off or be more feminine to cater to this dude?
Or just being your feminine all the time. But that's hard. Like, how are you going to work a boardroom and be in your feminine the entire time? That's tough. So that's why I'm saying it's truly a balance. Know when to tap into. It's so important as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur. I know when I have to turn on my masculine to be taken seriously in a room. And I also know when to turn on my feminine dainty side. So
Talia, go ahead.
I want to almost apologize. I don't want to apologize, but I'm saying you're saying it from this
I'm saying
perspective.
I know what works.
Well, you're saying from a perspective.
I'm saying like every masculine woman I've ever worked with who's a CEO of a Fortune 500 company is not thriving on these dates. And I empathize with her because I was her. I lost my feminine energy and I talk about it in my book. And I'm like, listen, if you once had it, it can come back.
See, and
you just have to be self-aware.
A lot of women get that. So I'm sitting from a different position to where, I can only compare it to an African American who knows how to almost code switch, is what we call it. You behave this way in front of this audience in the boardroom, and then you go back to being yourself. You're speaking from it to where it might, to some on the outside even, or might to say it out loud seems like offensive, but this is what you all deal with and talk about all the time. This is reality for women that, from my seat, I don't get.
And look, I've done both.
Yeah.
So I can speak to, I wasn't thriving. I'm talking about when I was single in New York, and I talk about in my book, and I share all my dating stories, how the second that I hit the jackpot of, I had lost that feminine energy and I was coming into these dates with a masculine energy, that's when things weren't thriving. And the second I switched my energy back to feminine when I was on the dates, so, the proof is in the pudding. That's all I can tell you. And I give all my tricks, because there are little things you can do on, when you get home to just kind of get back in that feminine flow.
Talia, does it feel manipulative at all? Like, I'm thinking about it because I'm interested.
It's natural to come into it.
Because obviously I've always had that boss lady energy. You were my friend when I had boss lady energy. I mean,
you're a sweetie pie. You
have
so
joked.
tender.
Obviously,
you're the
like,
greatest. You're feminine energy.
Stop it. You know that's not true.
But I just want to save you all the time.
But you still. No, this is interesting though. Like, I'm curious. I didn't even think to. I've been married a lot, so I wasn't dating that much while I was in my business world. But I'm curious, actually, listening to you. I understand what you're saying, but I'm asking you, TJ, as a man, were you turned off at all? Because you would definitely say I had more of the boss lady energy and less of the feminine energy around you.
What is the thing I say to you all the time? You are such a sweetheart. I wish other people knew that. and really, she's this tender, she's sweet, and that feminine energy maybe you speak of, but as a colleague and seeing her around the studio for so long, nobody has any clue about the person I know, and that's what you're
saying. You're saying that sometimes women, we have to be. I've never thought about it like that, and you have said that to me.
Coming home to who you really are. That's the truth. And you know what else I've noticed? Because I also host women workshops, and what I've also noticed is that even when you're in a marriage and you're in a relationship, sometimes you lose that femininity because sometimes, like, your husband's gone for the entire week, so you're the one taking out the child. You're doing all these masculine things because femininity, down to one word, is receiving. That's one word. It's receiving. It's about receiving. And so when you're in your masculine for so long in a marriage or in a relationship, sometimes you lose that. So you have to constantly check in with yourself. And also, by the way, for the man side too, the man needs to stay in his masculine, because we as feminine, most of us are not looking for a feminine man. We want to protect and provide her. So it goes both ways.
Tell you, I'm kind of blown away because I understand everything you're saying.
Oh, I love that.
You're blown away that she's saying it.
I am. So that's where I'm going next. I'm blown away that you're saying it. Do you get a lot of pushback? A lot of people who take offense to what you're saying about these stereotypical gender roles?
No, because people are starting to finally say, wait a minute, light bulb switch. This is why my relationship's not working out, or this is why I'm not thriving in dating. And the second they do that little switch, they're sending me DMs. I don't even know who these people are. And they're like, Talia, what you just said in that reel changed my entire dating life. What you wrote in that book changed my entire dating life. So I've had no pushback so far.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
So that's fascinating to me. And that's interesting. And you're saying the proof is in the pudding.
The proof is in the pudding.
What? I am no. There is nothing, because conversations happen like this all the time at dinner tables and in living rooms and whatnot. But how dare you say sometimes what is, even obvious to a lot of people. So I am surprised. Again, you've been doing it, so I was surprised that you haven't gotten pushback or somebody taking offense, because anytime it seems these days anyone gets a little offended about gender roles or where this person should be in the home and this person should be a protector. What did you say? The feminine
is receiving.
Is receiving. Yeah. I've never heard that before.
Neither have I.
I cover the entire chapter in the book about feminine energy.
So let's stick with feminine energy here for a second. Does feminine energy, how does it translate in the workplace, or can it translate in a positive way in the workplace?
Of course. I mean, it depends on your job. If for what I do, I have to be my masculine, for sure. Wow. Now, a nurse, who's nurturing and loving and helping, assisting elderlies, she needs to be in her feminine. I think she's thriving in her feminine. She doesn't have to be, but I'm sure that that's helpful to her. So I think it just depends on your job. Oh. But I definitely think if you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, running in there with all the femininity you've got, I would say probably not the best approach. But when it comes to dating, remember guys, I'm a matchmaker and I'm a dating coach. Okay. So when it comes to love, it's so simple. Men love feminine energy and women love a masculine man. And let's not forget, it's also give and take. When you're in a relationship, there are moments when a man needs to be emotional and say how he really feels, and he can be in his feminine energy in that moment. And she can be in her masculine and say, I understand, and just, hold space. So it's also a dance to have a good harmonious relationship.
Is there ever, what do you say about a man who can't handle a woman in her masculine energy, who is in charge? Some would say that says more about the man than it does about the woman who can't deal.
So you're asking, what if the man can't handle the masculine energy
of the woman? I mean, shouldn't that be on him? She shouldn't have to change or alter anything. Some would argue that, hey, that's on him. Why can't he deal with a strong woman?
Personal preference is personal preference. Yeah. I can't, you like what you like. So, I deal with preferences all day long with matchmaking. People give me their exact preferences of what they like, what they don't like. I've had clients say, I want the boss babe. I've had clients say, I want super feminine energy on the extreme. So it just depends on your preferences. And it's also about knowing that about yourself and being self-aware. And
I'm sorry, let me make sure I go back a little bit here. The book here is directed at women, how to attract the right guy. But your expertise, your background, and your history and your work is in helping men come to you, and they then say, this is what I'm looking for, and you make magic. So explain that a little bit. We didn't do that at the very top.
Well, okay. So with matchmaking, I actually just launched on Monday. I now accept female clients.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Well, the world's changing. Now, for the first time, men are okay with women hiring a matchmaker. She already has a chef. She already has a driver. Why not a matchmaker? Men have it too. So for the first time, times are changing. We love that. And now men are having matchmakers, so are women. So I now work with both.
Okay, so how does the process work? They come to you, and do you have a Rolodex? That's old school. A Rolodex of men, a Rolodex of women. How do you matchmake?
I just have a huge network. So I have a CRM system with singles, and how it works is the first step is I decide if I want to take on the client. The first step is get to know your client, see if it's a good fit to work together, and then if it is a good fit, get to know their preferences, and then set them up with someone credible.
Do you always have to meet certainly the client, but the potential match? You have to meet them ahead of time. Okay.
This is a very expensive service. Okay. This is an investment. So it would be a disservice to my client if I didn't take the time to meet them, background check, everything. And you know what? People always ask me, what is the secret sauce to matchmaking? And I always say it's intuition.
Intuition?
It's a gut feeling. It's like a knowing. It's like, I just know these two people are going to hit it off.
Wow. So, is it about what they both like, how they both operate? Like, what is the thing where you say they're going to be good?
It's a gut feeling.
It's
an intuition.
You said that's an expensive process. I'm paying for your expensive instinct.
Hold on. If he's allergic to dogs and he's a diehard Republican, we're not setting him up with a Democrat, okay? But I'm saying that there is intuition that plays a huge role in matchmaking. Mm-hmm.
So when you meet a woman, how do you I don't know how many people you're meeting, men, women, when you immediately go, they'd be great together. How does that work?
I can't explain how my brain works, but it is such a knack. I help people get jobs all the time. I'm just a connector. Like, I'll meet someone and I'm like, oh, you know what? You need to meet Bob. Bob is also looking to hire blah, 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 or whatever. That's just how my brain works. So it's really intuition.
Do you have a success rate to 100%. Back up? Okay.
Yeah. I choose my clients.
100%.
Yes.
100% success rate.
Yes. I do not take clients I know I can't help.
Wait a minute.
What's
success? Wait a minute, sister.
Okay. So wait, are we not talking about the book today? I have so much more to say.
We're talking about it all. We're just, your success rate as a matchmaker certainly affects the book for sure.
100%?
No, I don't. Not at all. Because the book is for women that don't want to do matchmaking and they want to learn how to attract the right guy on their own. So different. So in the book, I cover in chapter 3 how to drop the modern day handkerchief, which means you are out in public and you are choosing who you want to speak to, like which guy in the bar or which guy you want to talk to.
Oh. All right. What's the modern day handkerchief?
Oh, you like this?
Oh.
This is good. Okay. So, back in Victorian era, women chose men. We would drop our handkerchief and the guy would pick it up and say, you dropped this, and say, oh, did I? And times haven't changed. I always, in the book, I talk about the GESE, the grin, the eyes, the seductive energy.
Oh my.
And it works every time.
What?
And basically what you're doing is if you see a guy and you're attracted to him and energetically you want to speak with him, you give him the GESE, you drop the handkerchief, and it works every time.
Go through it again for me. The G is what?
The GESE, grin.
Grin. Okay, so the grin is just
the
a matter of a
smile,
little
the grin.
smile.
Mm-hmm.
You just make eye contact and you grin.
Not overly aggressive, a grin,
Okay, just a little grin. All right. How long is the eye contact on that on that
You'll
grin?
feel it.
You'll feel it. Okay.
You'll feel it. Could be 3 seconds, could be 5.
And then the E?
So grin, eyes.
The eyes are there. Okay, so the S?
Seductive.
Okay, now we might need some help on this one. She immediately started laughing. She was doing well with the eye contact, and then we go into goofy time.
Oh, I can't do seductive.
Okay, what's the seductive?
Seductive. You just, energy transfers, right? You can tell when someone's warm or when, seductive energy, it's magnetic. And you just send that, rare energy over there. And they get it. Men get it every time.
And the last E was what?
So grin, eyes, seductive energy.
And it's seductive energy. Sorry.
Yeah. So could you read my energy?
Oh, wait. And here's the best part.
Okay.
What?
There's a study that says men take up to 5 times to realize that it was for them. So
they think it's the guy behind them?
Yes, they'll think it's the guy behind them. And I share one of the stories in the book about how the guy was giving it to, the GESE, literally pointed to the guy in the back, was like, him? And I was like, no, you. And he was like, oh. And then he walked over to me. He was like, hi, and introduced himself. So it takes men up to 5 times. So ladies, if he didn't catch it the first GESE, do it 4 more times.
Okay. Wow.
4 more times. Wow.
Wow, that's not you. That's were we just talking about this? That is not going to be you. Tell me, there are you have 10 commandments.
I do.
The 10 commandments of dating. How I don't know if we can go through all 10, but can you give me a couple of keys in there? The 10 commandments of dating. And for anyone single looking to date who's on apps and all that right now, what do you think a couple of the key ones you would want everybody to have?
I think the biggest one, the 2 biggest one that come to mind is oversharing and overdrinking.
Oversharing and overdrinking. Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So in New York, as we all know as New Yorkers, the drinking culture is huge here. The problem with that is there's a such thing as drunk chemistry versus real chemistry. So if you want to really figure out on a first date, is it the alcohol speaking or do we actually have really good chemistry? I say keep it to 1 drink max. 2, maybe for guys, I don't know. 2 if you really just can hold your liquor. But I say really figure out, do you guys get along, And also no one likes a drunk date.
Yeah, I was always told they're a 10 at 2 and a 2 at 10. That's a problem. Or,
that's right.
Beer goggles. We've all heard those.
The drunk
terms.
goggles?
Yeah, beer goggles, whatever.
Did I mention how much I love her? She's just she's a winner.
That was always the in college, I learned don't worry, you got to watch out. They're a 10 at 2 and a 2 at 10.
Oh yeah.
Is that wrong?
No, it proves the point though. You don't want to overconsume on a date.
No, absolutely not. No, I totally hear you. And any other 10 commandments?
The other one was the overshare.
Oversharing, yes.
Yes, men and women do this. When the nerves kick in, sometimes you get word vomit and you just overshare. Just sharing too much sensitive information with a stranger that, maybe you met him on Hinge. Maybe you met him through a friend. It's so important to just reel it in. Remember, high level. First dates, it's high level. Just see if there's banter. See if you guys connect on a couple things, but not oversharing about your last divorce, oversharing about how you hate your boss.
Yes.
Or about oversharing about, what your mom did to you last Sunday. This person is brand new. We just have to remember that.
Yeah, that's definitely good advice for women. I understand. I am a chronic oversharer, so I will fully cop to that, unfortunately.
What? I would almost break up with you just so I could see your next first date with a guy.
Oh my God. That is so not nice.
How much you share.
My God.
It would be a great social experiment.
And then he said, no. All right. I loved, you have a visceral reaction to love languages because people put so much stock. Place so much stock in love languages. You have, you have strong feelings about this.
Yes. So here's the funny thing. According to studies, you're most likely not going to end up with someone who has the exact same love language as you.
Well.
However, it doesn't mean that you can't learn them and then shift where you put your energy.
Okay.
So for example, if your husband is words of affirmation and for you it's acts of service, as long as you guys have communicated like, hey, every time you do this and this, it doesn't mean that much to me because that's not how I receive love. I need to hear it from you first. Or I need, acts of service. That's how I receive love. And by the way, fun fact, it's all childhood. However your parents showed and expressed love is how you interpret love with your partner. So if you had a parent that never said I love you, but they bought you gifts all the time, that's all you know to receive love. So it's just something to have a conversation with your partner so that you're not constantly trying to do all these things and it's not even taking into account, Yeah.
You mentioned earlier what men want. They want feminine energy, but in the clients you've dealt with, it was, again, you're starting to take female clients now, but your initial matchmaking was all men. So in what you've learned from men about what men want from women and in a mate, you said feminine energy, but what are those things?
That's too hard to speak to because every guy is so different and everyone is so complex. Everyone's preferences are different. So it just depends on the person. I've never had the same type of I've actually never had the same type of client twice.
Okay.
Wow.
Is that, you wouldn't say there are any things universally that men want in this?
Universally, I would say being in your feminine when you're at home. Sure. That could be universal.
Okay. Wow. And I don't think a lot of women think of that. All right. They're trying to be
all kinds of things.
Yeah. To so many people. So it's interesting. And it's not about being something you're not.
Right.
It's about tapping into a part of you that's truly there. And I think that's the distinguishment between pretending or posturing or manipulating, but you're actually being honest and authentic with a side of yourself that maybe you've been afraid to express or told it would be weak to express. I mean, I think women are dealing with a lot of different narratives and operatives about what they should be or how they can be the best version of themselves. And it's confusing, especially when we think that maybe going back to gender norms or stereotypical norms is something to be frowned upon. And I do think that that is part of where we are today in society.
But I also think coming back to who you are, before you got that big C-suite executive job. How about coming back to that person you were before you became a founder of a company? Who was that inner child? Was she a feminine woman? Well, she deserves to be that today in the relationship.
Wow, that is...
Yeah.
I love it. No, I love it because so many of the conversations we have, because I was about to ask you that the idea that tapping in, you said feminine, and it always in some way gets translated into weaker. And it shouldn't be. It's okay for there to be a masculine and a feminine, would you say, without one being stronger or weaker?
That's right. Actually, all the power is in the feminine energy. It's so magnetic. When a woman is truly in your feminine energy, it is magnetic, and so many things will happen for you because you're in that abundance receiving. You're just in that receiving mode of letting it happen instead of forcing everything and doing. It's about receiving.
And I'm laughing because I'm hearing you and I'm understanding that a little bit more now than I ever have before in my life. But I was always on the other side of things. Always.
Just so you know, I'm right there with you, sister.
So I'm listening to you and I'm laughing because for the first time I'm open to that part of me that I haven't been before. I've always been no, I'm the doer, I'm the getter, I'm the maker, I'm the creator, I'm the breadwinner, and so it's interesting about accepting, and not just accepting, but embracing the other side of yourself in the right relationship,
That part of you. Yes.
A part of the title of your book is Avoid Situationships, Step into Wifey Energy, and Get Him to Commit.
Wait, can we talk about avoiding situationships?
Because yes.
If I hear that word one more time on my coaching clients, because remember, I have a coaching business, but I also have a matchmaking business.
Okay.
And my coaching clients, they date all on their own. But I keep hearing that word.
Define it.
I'm hold on here.
What are we talking about?
why situationship is when one of the two people, as they're dating, one person's ready to commit and the other one's not.
Oh.
And it just gets dragged out and it never turns into something. That is a situationship. Okay. And I am here to say, and you'll read in the book, do not do wifey duties or girlfriend duties if you do not have the title. Mm-hmm. For all the women out there listening to this podcast, if you are cooking for this man, or you are taking out his dog, or you're doing his laundry, and you do not have the girlfriend title, you are doing yourself a disservice.
Yep. Why are you laughing, Tord?
because I take care of your dog, I do your laundry, and I cook for you.
You do not take care of my dog. The other two, maybe. Fine, the laundry and the cooking, yes. But you do not take care of my dog.
Sweetheart. If I walk in the house right now, who's the dog going to come to?
He loves you. Okay. Because you feed him food off the side.
And I play with him. Okay, anyway, that's why.
You do play with him.
That's why we were laughing. But a situationship, how you avoid it by
But by the
what,
way,
though?
By the way, though, that's when, like, the situationship is when one of the two people is seeing other people. Oh. Like, there's not a commitment. Committed. That's what I'm saying. It's a situationship, not a relationship, because there's no commitment.
We used to call it, like, booty calls. Like,
yes,
that's basically what it is.
It's basically
booty calls.
Well, why did we get away from that language? It was working just fine.
And it was what it is.
Okay,
exactly.
That's
it tries to somehow elevate the booty call.
Yes.
Okay,
it's a more sophisticated way to say booty call. I don't know what happened to booty call.
Yeah, that's what it is. Sneaky link.
What?
Wait. We've got our Emma here, who's 22, so who would know more than anyone.
It's a what?
Sneaky link.
What's a sneaky link?
It's a modern booty call.
Sneaky link?
Oh,
that's one step below a situationship, I guess. I don't know, in the hierarchy of, ships.
I thought we were talking about you're dating and one wants to get engaged or married and the other doesn't.
No,
it's not even that deep.
We're not
even
there.
Okay.
No, we're not even there.
It's not that deep. You said it perfectly. That's exactly what my 21-year-old would say. It's not that deep, Mom.
It's not that deep.
Well, it's not that deep.
Talia, how do you get, the other part of the title, get him to commit? That's heavy. How do you do this?
It's a lot. It's not just one thing.
Okay.
You kind of have to read the book.
Okay, that's okay. But give us some cliff notes here. How do you get him to commit? Is that even possible?
Of course. By getting him to commitment, first off, you're showing up in your wifey energy. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. Showing up in wifey energy. That's how I have seen guys who I never thought would commit. But they met the right girl at the right time, and she was in her wifey era.
Wait, what's wifey energy? Can you tell me what that is?
Oh, you have to read the book. I mean, wifey energy, it's so many different things. It's a lot. It's like you really have your life together. You're showing up in you're dressing differently. Like there are times when you're going out with your girlfriends and you look like a hoochie mama, and I'm like, you're not in your wifey era right now. Like you're just going out and having fun, and you're not. He's meeting you and he's not thinking, oh, this is the girl I'm going to take home to my parents.
So it's almost like you've got a job interview, you want that job, and you're dressed the part and you present yourself in the best way possible. But you definitely don't want to, like, I worry about what happens when he sees it all, like to hide your crazy or to hide some of the other parts of you that aren't as attractive or wifey or however you want to call it, feminine. At what point is it okay to show those things? Because eventually they're going to come out, right? You want them to know, I would think at some point earlier rather than later perhaps, that all of this is you, not just the best version of you.
Well, let me ask you this. For whoever you were speaking about, is that person working on their shadow side? Because that's another part of it where it's like, if you're not working on that crazy side of you, like if you're not doing the therapy, the shadow work, you're not healing those parts of you. Because anytime someone gets really triggered and annoyed and they start yelling, all these things, all the not so good parts are called the shadow side. And I think that it's really important to definitely share that with that person, because then it's just way too much work to always be on your A game and like,
it's impossible.
Yeah, someone, of course you show them that side, but I wouldn't do that on a first date.
And by the way, also, if you say this, forget it. No, I get that. I get it.
It's like,
don't tell me to calm down.
Right. It's like, triggered. Shadow side for sure.
But you were going about, you had a story about, you said there was somebody you just swore wasn't going to commit, but you were back to how to get a guy to commit.
Oh, and I was just saying that, eligible bachelor, super good looking, successful, all the things. I never thought he'd settle down. And he met that right girl, and it was just the right time, the right energy. And she healed herself, and she was like in that feminine era, and they just ended up together. And so I do think that plays into it too. So you can get men to commit.
Right woman. No, the right woman.
Time.
I'm always struggling with that. The right woman, the right man. And then there's the right time. And so how does one know? And a lot of your advice is obviously for people who are single, but for people who are out there who are married or in relationships right now, what is in the book that could help them maybe evaluate or reevaluate? Or you're making a face like, it's not for them.
No, it's not for them.
We're not going down that road. That's fine.
I'll come out. So I'm writing 5 books. The 5th one will be for the married couples. But we're not there yet. This is book number 1.
And Talia, let me ask you.
This is really for the singles who are struggling, because loneliness is a huge problem right now. People have never been more lonely. People have given up on dating. App fatigue is real. And so this book is something that I was so excited to share with the world. And it's digestible. It's short. It's a 30-minute read. And each chapter has an exercise. So you digest it, and then there's a little exercise, and you get to journal in the book. And I think it's a gift to the world to help the singles out there right now.
And Talia, tell me, you economics major?
So irrelevant, but yes.
So how did you get into this business?
Oh my gosh. I was matchmaking everyone in high school, college, post-college. And then I just, I got into finance and whatever. And I was like, this isn't my calling. And my last name is We Met. And I was like, I meant to be a matchmaker.
We Met.
So, yeah. So I worked for the largest matchmaking agency in Atlanta and loved it. And then that's when I said to myself, hold on, I could do this at a different level and I could do it better.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to own that. So I moved to New York. I booked a one-way ticket, was like couch surfing on my best friend's couch for a couple of weeks, building this company. And I said, okay, we're going to launch on Valentine's Day. And sure enough, it went viral and everyone's like, oh my God, Talia We Met's got her own company now. And like, it took off. And I've had it now for half a decade.
That's incredible.
That is wild.
And do you have your forever person?
I have someone in my life, yes. Is he my forever TBD?
Oh my goodness gracious.
We'll see.
We don't know if he's Mr. Right.
We're so new. We're so new.
How new?
Okay.
I'm following my own rules.
Okay.
You really have to make sure and take your time.
How new?
So we're like a month deep.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay.
And how does he feel about
great.
dating someone who is maybe analyzing him all the time?
Oh no, that's the best part of him. He is so confident. He is so in his masculine that he allows me to be in my feminine.
Wow.
I don't talk about work stuff. I get to finally be fully in my feminine. And actually, I think this relationship happened for a reason, and it's going to be in my next book.
I love it.
Oh,
Already got the next book.
Yeah, because we are looking for another relationship to publicly scrutinize. So, so everybody follow Talia and her 1 month in guy. Can I ask? There's so much relationship.
We've known each other for 2 years. But
Okay.
Oh, okay.
we're
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
very cool. We like that.
And I don't want to point to anyone in particular.
In the
but
room.
Can you, I don't run the room, but in news lately, do you ever look at celebrity couples or things that are being followed in the media and you have a sense of they are a good match or not a good match? These are people you do not know, but is there any feeling or guide in what you're able to see from a distance about couples?
Absolutely.
Really?
I mean, I just got done with Access Hollywood. We were talking about matches, celebrity couples, and I'll tell you, there's a couple celebrity couples that I just love and adore. I don't personally know them. I might be 1 degree separation from them, but I know in my heart they're a good fit for each other, and they just have so much value alignment. Their foundation is so solid because they see the world the same way. They were raised in a very similar light, and I think they'll make it. And then there's some couples where I'm like, oof, God bless. They'll figure it out eventually, but it's not a
Who are you talking about?
No. We don't want to
Okay,
have to edit this later. Just leave it.
We won't
get it.
add
We
too much
get
controversy, but I could absolutely. It's a hunch. It's like an intuitive knowing. Yeah.
I only have one last question, and this is for I'm asking on behalf of women. Is there how do they know he's Mr. Wrong?
Ooh, I love this question. Okay. How do you know if it's Mr. Wrong?
Yeah.
Your entire, and you know what? This is for men and women. This is both. This is for anyone who's listening, who's single. You will know because your nervous system, your gut feeling will tell you. Like your anxiety will start to get cranked up. You'll start to feel stressed around that person. When you are with the right person, it will feel like home. You will feel peace. You will feel serenity. And when you're with the wrong person, you will have just this like I call it the nervous system test. Your nervous system will just be off. And so it's about being very self-aware because your body will always tell you if it's Mr. Right.
And apparently if it's Mr. Wrong.
And apparently if it's Mr. Wrong, that's right.
Hey, is that your experience?
What?
I'm kidding.
I mean, it depends on the day sometimes.
How's your gut today?
How's your gut feeling?
Depends on the minute. I mean, and to that point, though, it changes. I mean, you can still be in a loving relationship and have moments of, oh my God, what have I done? I mean, that's a part of any relationship.
Of course. You have your highs and your lows in every marriage. Nothing's perfect. But I'm saying, especially in those early phases, when something feels off, listen to that.
In the early phases, yes. Because later on, there's always going to be something that's off at any given day.
Why are you gesturing to me?
Because we've been through the trenches. But I get it. No, in the beginning, it should be butterflies and unicorns and rainbows. Like there's enough that's going to come later.
Well, it should just feel warm and safe. It shouldn't feel like that firecracker love. No, those burn fast.
Yes.
You want the like at-home fireplace feeling.
Like who do you want to Netflix and chill with?
Oh my God.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would say like I would say just
wow.
No,
like
today.
Netflix and chill. Like okay, you can Netflix and chill with someone you still have that firecracker energy with. But like, it's just like a gut feeling. It's a knowing where you just feel so safe with that person.
Yeah, safety.
You really sound like you need like not relationship advice, but like dating advice. You're asking.
No,
you're looking for somebody.
I don't know. I'm thinking about all the friends in my life too. All right. Wow. Talia Ouimet, thank you so much for being with us. This has been super fun. Congratulations on the book and the second book and the third book and the fourth and the fifth one to come, right?
What's the schedule on all the books? How soon can we expect them?
Ooh, probably once a year.
Once a year. I'll be dang. Well, congrats. Really, this is cool to be, and this is fun stuff for us, but we hope everybody can take a nugget or two out of it no matter what. But the book is on sale everywhere.
Amazon.
At Amazon. You can find it there. Again, it's How to Attract the Right Guy. Talia Ouimet. It's a fantastic name.
It really is.
Do you want me to tell you about the shirt?
Oh, yes. You know what? That's a good way to end it.
About the shirt?
Mr. Right Now. You haven't worn it again.
Wow, everybody's perks up.
I mean, you used to come into the studio with it. I was like, well, hello.
No, it's okay. I do own a T-shirt that says Mr. Right Now on it. Let me explain. I went out to L.A. and the hell with it now. I interviewed at Entertainment Tonight, right? I went out there and I was just supposed to go interview and then fly right back the same day. I went out in my suit and interviewed and did an on-camera test and then went back to the airport. They called me as I'm bored. The flight is boarding. And they call and say, TJ, it went so well. Can you come back? And we want you to record for a show that's actually going to air tomorrow. But I wasn't prepared. I didn't have clothes. It's supposed to be an in and out. So they send me to a hotel. I don't get there until 10, 11 at night. The only store open. I don't have clothes. The only store open at that time was Hustler. So I go in the Hustler at about midnight.
I have never heard this story before, by the way.
This is epic. This is a gem.
I'm not sure if I was with CNN at the time. Who was I with at the time? I don't know. Maybe even ABC. I don't know. But I go into the store, and I promise you, the kindest T-shirt in there was the one that said Mr. Right Now. So I had to buy that shirt, and the next day I went into the Entertainment Tonight offices in the morning meeting with the shirt on that said Mr. Right Now. And I just haven't been able to throw the shirt away. But we're photographed by paparazzi too much. I cannot wear that shirt.
No, I've never. So it's funny. I used to see you come into the studio with it. But ever since we've been together, thank God you've never worn it. Okay. Smart man.
Talia, should I toss that shirt?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he should never wear that ever again. Thank you, Talia. Thank you.
All right, folks, you know where to find us. We're on Instagram, the official show page at Amy and TJ Podcast. We'll see you.